welcome to B-Boy Tech Report. I want to get into something real cool this time around. It's an Arturia piece, and it's called the KeyLab 25. It's a 25 key hybrid synthesizer. This is what it looks like. Alright, so that's the KeyLab 25. 2-octave keyboard. Pretty standard stuff, right? So you got, at least for that, you got the 2-octave keyboard, the modulation wheel, the pitch wheel. It's nice and smooth as far as the modulation wheel goes. The pitch wheel is nice. It's I guess a little stiff, which is kind of the way it should be. And then you have these 10 knobs here. These are 10 rotary pots, and then you have 9 sliders. But in addition to those 9 sliders, you also have 2 banks. So that makes these 9 sliders, turn those into 18 sliders once you go to bank 2 from bank 1. And also bank 1 and 2 corresponds to the 10 rotary knobs here too. So that's actually, you get 20 knobs and 18 sliders. And then it has the volume, so that's right there. Now, what's cool about this is obviously the KeyLab 25 comes bundled with Analog Lab. Now, Analog Lab is basically a bundle or an amalgamation of all of Arturia's synthesizers, at least 5,000 presets. Now, those 5,000 presets come from all of their synthesizers from the V collection and the Wurlitzer. So they took the best of the best, the greatest hits of all of those. I don't even know how many software packages it is, and they put it into one. It's Analog Lab, and they made Analog Lab a lot simpler to use, so you have all of that stuff right in there. And then the reason they call this a hybrid synth is because as a synthesizer, it's not just a controller, as a synthesizer, it's tightly integrated with Analog Lab. Now, with it being tightly integrated with Analog Lab, what you get there is tight integration, obviously, right? So you get these knobs here. They have labels beneath them: cutoff, resonance, LFO rate, LFO amount, chorus amount, delay amount. Now those things are all pre-mapped, but then you have parameter 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are also separate knobs. Then when you go down to the sliders, you got filter, then it says ADSR. A is for slider 1, D is slider 2, S is slider 3, and R is slider 4. So if you know synthesizers, you know these: attack, decay, sustain, release, right? So that's for the filter, but then you go to the next 4, so that's slider 5, 6, 7, and 8, and that's attack, decay, sustain, release for the amp, right? And then that last slider there is just, you know, you can assign it to whatever you want to assign it to. So what do we have next? After that, you have this 32 character 2-line LCD backlit screen. This is not an OLED screen, it's a LCD screen, and it's backlit. It's a 32 character screen, so it's not the biggest screen. It's a kind of narrow screen with 2 lines across, but you can see what you need to see on there. In addition to that, you have 2 knobs on the side here. These 2 knobs right here, what those are category and preset. So you could change your category from, say, pads to leads, or from leads to bass, and you use that, you turn that knob, and then it presses in, it clicks. Same thing for preset. So you can select, you can really get granular with what you're selecting, what presets and stuff you're selecting. Go to bass, select it, boom. Now you can scroll down through your presets with this knob just beneath it. In addition to that, you have right beneath the screen a sound and a multi button and an edit button. Now the sound and the multi buttons correspond with the Analog Lab software. So with the Analog Lab software, you have a couple things that you can select. If you select a sound, it's just that, it's a sound. If you select a multi, it's a multi setup, so it may be layers, it may be splits, it may be any of that kind of stuff. So that's pretty cool. You can actually further, you can flip through those actual tabs in the software. So you can flip either one of those and go through the tabs. Then you have 10 switches just beneath the display screen. Those 10 switches correspond to a few different things. You can go to program change, recall, store, global curve, because you can change the curves and stuff on how the keys hit. You know, to tell you the truth, I always hear people say that with weighted keyboards, they can't really make hip-hop with weighted keyboards. I mean, that depends on if you're a player or not. Me, myself, I like synth action that's semi-weighted. And that's what this is. These are full-size keys. It's a 2-octave keyboard with 25 keys. So, that does it for the top panel. You also have the octave up and down. But on the back, you have your USB connection, your power switch, you have your aux in, all of your inputs here. So you have an expression pedal, sustain, aux in, you have a breath controller input. And I can't remember the name of what it's compatible with right now, but it is compatible with a particular breath controller. So that's pretty cool. You got that right on the back of here, and you got your USB. Then you have your 5-volt power connector. On your 5-volt power connector, you don't need that. This is powered by USB. You get a USB cable, this joint right here, and you connect it right on in, right? And you're good to go. It also has a regular 5-pin DIN, MIDI in and MIDI out. So it's pretty cool, but you don't really need to use that unless you're doing external software. I mean external hardware. Like you can see, I have a couple synths around here, and that will come in handy for that kind of stuff. But otherwise, this is a full featured, ready to go. It has your transport buttons. It has all the sliders and everything you could possibly need. Now, one thing that's cool about the sliders is outside of using this with KeyLab, I was able to use it with an organ. And right away, these sliders transform from just sliders to drawbars. That's a good piece. Now, here's the downside. It's not really a downside depending on what you're looking for. Has no pads. Now, this is one of a series of 3 hybrid synthesizers / controllers that they're making called the KeyLab Series. Now in the KeyLab Series you have the 25 key, the 49 key, and the 61 key. Now I'll tell you, pound for pound, this is probably one of the best controllers on the market, period. I mean, it's built really solidly. It's all metal chassis. It has wood ends. Wood, relative term. I think that this is like wood composite with like a laminate wood grain over it. Wood nonetheless, right? Okay, so that's what that's about. Now, this thing is heavy. I think it's about 9 pounds. Now, heavy is a relevant term. I'm saying for a controller, it's got some weight on it because they don't really make controllers like this with metal chassis. That's usually reserved for synths. I even think most synths nowadays are made out of plastic, right? It's not a totally bad thing. I mean, you know, you got this guy right here. This is not metal, but it's a metal plate at the bottom, but it's mostly plastic. Now, contrast that with the fact that the same people who make that make the KeyLab, and it's an all metal case. So the reason I bring that up is because it might fit in your duffel bag or your book bag if you have one big enough, but it's almost 9 pounds. I know some people that don't like to carry a 9 or 10 pound laptop. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about this as a mobile unit. There's a couple other things out there that even Arturia offers that may be better suited as a mobile unit. This is more about the space and the footprint, in my opinion. If you don't have a lot of space, as you can kind of see on my desk, there's enough here. This is perfect to just sit in front of your laptop. It's a little wider than your laptop, and it's probably, for you MPC users out there, it's probably about as wide as an MPC. It's certainly as wide as my MPC 5000. So it may be a little wider than the average MPC, like certainly wider than the 1000. It's probably as wide as a machine studio, and it's probably a little wider than the older machines that you may have out there. So just keep that in mind. It does not have 16 pads like the 49 key and the 61 key. It's made out of metal, so it's about 9 pounds. That's nearly 2 bags of 5-pound sugar. So if you don't know what 9 pounds is, go in the kitchen, grab a 5-pound bag of sugar, and then multiply that by 2. That's about how heavy it is. So if you think you want to walk around with a 10-pound bag of sugar in your backpack, then that gives you an idea of what this is. So in my opinion, it's not really a mobile keyboard. However, it is a small powerhouse. And I'd say small because it does have a smaller footprint, and it's perfect for those that may be space conscious. You can even put this on a computer keyboard tray and slide it under your desk out of the way. That's perfect to me. So in my opinion, it's a great keyboard controller. And for $2.99, think about what you get. You get this so nicely made and nicely done. It's pretty. I don't think there's a more pretty controller out there right now. It's heavy duty. It's more heavy duty than most synths, and it doesn't take up a lot of space. Now, you don't get the 16 pads like on its bigger brothers, the 49 and the 61. Fine, no problem. That's probably not an issue anyway. Most people will have this in addition to, you know, anything, something like this, or they'll have this in addition to an MPC. So the pads can be redundant. If you think that you only want one controller and you need the pads too, then you might want to look at the 49 version or the 61 version. So, in a nutshell, for $2.99 with Analog Lab, with the greatest hits of Arturia's vintage synths, 5,000 presets, and this controller together for $2.99, you're batting 1,000. It's $299 for incredible software and incredible hardware. Together, it's a really good hybrid synth, as they call it. This particular one is the compact hybrid synth. So I'd say check it out. It's a good buy. Be sure to subscribe on the YouTube channel. Be sure to stop by the site. Subscribe to the mailing list, because we often send out things that, you know, you may be able to get something free. You may be able to get a sound kit every now and then. So we don't spam, but sign up for that. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and let's do this thing. B-boys and B-girls, heat makers and beat makers. I am Corey. This is B-Boy Tech Report. Thanks for watching. Check me out next time.